Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverleigh here over at Crafting Fit Chaos, and this is lesson 4 for newer users. And in this lesson I'm hoping to show you how to use the text option in the other Canvas workspace downloadable version, and I'm using it on a Mac. So I've opened up the Brother Canvas workspace on my desktop and I'm going to get started. When it opens, this is kind of the layout that you'll see, and these are what we use to select what we're wanting to do, whether it's shapes, text, or importing SVGs, FCMs, trace nodes, etc. So I'm going to close down the shapes because I'm not going to be using that one just now, and I'm going to click on the text. Now, unlike the online version of Canvas Workspace, when you're actually on your computer, downloadable one, you can actually download any of the fonts. They're not actually downloaded, they're just already there in your actual program for you to use. So what you can just look for something that you think you might want to use, or you could look on the internet to see if you've got any fonts that you want to use that are on thefont.com and download them and use those. So for example, what I'm going to show you today is how to select a font, how to type it, and how to, if you wish, if it's not already, weld it together. So I'm just going to choose a random font and I'm going to type the word thanks, because that's a word that we often use in our card making. So I've typed the word thanks. Now, as you can see, they're all grouped together at the moment as one letter. If we go to layers, we can see that there's our text. And what we can do if we want to work with the individual letters is, whilst it's selected, go on to edit, and we need to go on process. This edit is the second button on this side. You've got properties, edit, layers, and that's your artboard, which we'll do more on in another video. So you go to edit and then you click this one, which is divide, and that will break up the letters so that you can move them independently. Okay, now if we just give them some colour first of all. So again, to do that we go on edit, and this is purely, sorry, we'll go on the properties. This is purely just for our visual aid, if you will, so that we can see what we're doing, because it shows up better on the screen. And I'm just going to select everything, and I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so that we can again see what's happening. Now, in order for us to weld a word, we need to have the letters touching. So you can adjust them, you can rotate them by using this circle at the top here. That rotates them left and right. So if you wanted to just tip it slightly so that you get them at a bit of a jaunty angle so that they're not all just perfect, it's entirely up to you. Or you could just simply bring the letter up to the previous letter until it's overlapping, and similarly just bring them along and line them up to where you think they're pleasing. And then we're going to just try to bring the K in, and I'm deliberately trying to make it wonky donkey, if you will, because I think it's a nice look for this font, although it might not appeal to you and you could just put them up together till they're straight. So there, we've got it. Now if you look at each of those letters, and if I zoom in using my zoom tool, you can see now they're not actually welded together at this point, they're only actually overlapping. So what we need to do to get them to weld is with your selection tool. So it's this one you need. This one allows you to move your mat around. This one, if you click on it, will zoom you in to, and you hold that, say, onto the screen, it'll zoom you into that particular area. So that's what those are for. Now when we want to select something, just get it so I can get to see all the word, we need to be on the select tool, and I'm going to drag across everything, and then from my edit menu I need to go on this process the overlap and weld. And that will, now if I just undo that and do it again, you can, if you watch carefully, So I'm dragging the box around everything. I'm going onto the edit screen, process the overlap and weld. And if you watch on screen what's happening, you'll see that overlap disappears and it becomes one shape. Okay, so now that's a welded word. So you could now cut that word out, or you could get it to draw the word and colour it in with a pattern. It's entirely up to you. What you can also do with words is, if you wanted to, and you wanted to make a sort of card, so I'm just going to click on a square. I'm bringing on a square, and what I'm doing is just attaching, making it roughly the length of my word, and I'm going to place it so that it's just overlapping slightly with the top of the card. And then if I select both of those, you can weld it to your card, so that now when you fill it with colour, like so, you could have that on the side of your card. Now, if you wanted it to be, and if, oh, incidentally, if you do get anything like this here that you think is going to be a really small gap, if you double click to expose the node and drag, oops, excuse me. So we need to expose the nodes like so, and then drag around the ones that we don't want. They'll turn turquoise, and then if we hit delete minus, then the nodes will disappear, and that bit that might have caused a problem for your blade will disappear. Okay, so that's something you might want to consider if you wanted to do that on a card. You could then use it as a layer on a card or something else, or if you'd done the words welded in a vertical direction rather than, say, I'm just rotating this feeling, not rather than being accurate, you could have done your T coming down here, H, and you could have had thanks coming down the side. So if we just go back a step, we'll go back to where we've got the thanks. So if we make sure we get to the point where we've got rid of that, see if we can get back far enough till we're unwelded, and now we're unwelded. So then if we bring on that square again, I'll show you what I mean. So you could have stretch this a bit longer, and we can change it if we need to. And then you could, instead of welding the words to each other, if you click on, so just, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and then I've got a bit more space to work. I'm just going to click and move that to the side so that I can get to my letters, and I could just overlap my letters this time with, and I'm not going to do them all, I'm just going to give you the general idea. So I could overlap the letters, bring them in, instead of overlapping necessarily to themselves, you could bring them in and overlap them to your card, like so. And if you needed to, obviously you can make this longer, like so. And then what you would do then is select everything you've got there, again going on to this button and hitting weld, and again that would weld everything together for you. And if we just fill that with colour, and mine come up as pencils just because I'm working on a Mac, yours may come up different. Again, if you've got some pesky nodes that you think may be a problem for your blade, just drag around them and minus them off, like so. So again, there might be a little bit there. I'm going to zoom. If you've got a problem area, click on the zoom tool, click on the area where you want to zoom in, and it's that area there. So then select, click, and click once more, drag around the offending nodes, and then hit minus, and that will get rid of them for you. So then if we want to go back to the window that we can see, we go on display, zoom all objects to matte, and then we can see that we've got that idea going on there. So you can weld your letters together to make welded words, or you could actually weld them to a shape. Now the other thing that you can do with letters, and we might as well just have a quick demo, I'll do a more detailed thing on this if you wish, but if we bring this K to the top, so I'm just going on to the layers and dragging it, trying to drag it, and drag the shape down, it'll be easier. So then if I put that K on there, say I'd got the rest, I could put the K there and select everything, go back onto edit and subtract, and that'll punch the K out. So you could have a selection of letters on and off if you wanted welded on and then cut out, just for a different look. So there's quite a lot you can do, but just have a play with it. Play with the letters, play with the rotation, play with them, because obviously, like I say, you can rotate it right round if you wish. If you want to rotate it by a specific angle, you can do that here. So degrees to the right and degrees to the left, a minus. Or you could flip it if you wanted to, so it's backwards on if you were thinking of doing something out of vinyl and you've got it the other way up and you need it to be the mirror image. So there's lots of things that you can actually do with this weld function, and with the now obviously the world's your oyster in terms of fonts that you can use that are on your computer that you've got built in, plus all the ones that are available to download. Okay, so that's it for lesson 4, I believe now, of the Canvas Workspace tutorials for newer users. I hope you found it interesting and you found it that it's actually shown you a little bit more in depth about welding, because this has been purely about text and welding text and that kind of thing. If you have, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.